Hello, and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode 120 for the date of whatever today is, August 19th, 2013. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who is here with me this week?
Brock Sager.
Omar.
Jesus. We missed you, Omar.
I missed you
Not
guys,
that much.
man. I missed all of you.
I missed Omar.
Who else is here?
Toby.
And Charlie.
Omar,
What's up, man?
what's happening?
What's up, dude?
You were gone for a few weeks.
Yeah, I was gone for a little bit, gone for 2 weeks total, 14 days. Actually, more than 14 days.
Where'd you go?
I think I left, was it
It felt like months.
2 Fridays ago? So it's been like 16, 17 days. So
You missed all our Tuesday recordings of the podcast.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty sad. Pretty sad about it. It's going through my nerd withdrawals, nerd draws. Is that what you call it?
Sure.
So, once a year, like most people, try to go on vacation. And this time, we decided to go to Europe together. So, me and my girl.
Fancy.
And we went to Portugal for the equivalent of a week. And since it was so close, Barcelona for a week. So, just did, the tourist thing a few days, and then did the local thing a few days. So tourist thing, hit up a bunch of the sites that you got to check out. In Portugal, I mean, if between the two, which one did I enjoy more? Most people would probably think Barcelona, just because of my weird online or over the podcast alter ego, like being party boy. But that's not really the case. I'm more into like just hanging out,
Liar.
chilling. And just like relaxing,
bursting everybody's bubble until they actually meet you and realize, no,
Yeah.
Total
really is
bullshit.
the party boy.
Yeah, I'm pretty boring.
That's the Hawaiian part of you, right?
Yeah.
The chill, the hanging out part.
Yeah. So Portugal, I mean,
There's no chill.
Lisbon is cold. The water there is cold as fuck, but the warmth, the atmosphere, the weather, it was like it went from like 85 to 104 degrees. That's equivalent of like almost 40. Was it 40 degrees Celsius, or I don't know the way Europeans do their weather, their metric system, everything. They're all weird.
So it's like our weather. We get like a 20-degree difference.
Some shit like that. Yeah. Anyways, Portugal is beautiful. Got to take in just when you go to another place besides the U.S. that has history and has beautiful. We have history, sure, but the history that you should see here in the U.S., which is beautiful, like Adobe. Well, we have some of those old huts and missions, and for the most part, we destroyed everything. Because we took over.
Well,
we did that shit. That's
so
what we
much
do.
Fun to rebuild.
Yeah, we're WMD and this
We just
motherfucker.
like to destroy shit. Blow it all off. Michael Bay.
What you're saying is in the United States we don't have old buildings that are very old.
We do.
like Moorish
And
castles.
We are about to be corrected by lots of people.
Well, of course we do, but old as in American old, which is like 200 years, 300 years
not
old.
much.
I mean, that's old as it gets.
But to see shit in Portugal and Spain made by the Moors, walking through a Moorish castle and seeing how they lived by walking through the area, at least of what was renovated, because we know that it looked much different in the past. That for me was breathtaking. Obviously, I'm a huge GOT fan, like many others. So walking through the castles, I felt like I was cruising through, fucking with my direwolf and shit. Want to fucking take out some what do they call them?
Feeling very fantasy.
Yeah, it was great. I had so much fun. In Portugal, the people were so sweet. Everyone was just all about, because they're 100% tourism. It's almost like Hawaii from a sense of feeling where you go there and you're not people are trying to service you, people are trying to share their culture with you. When you go to Barcelona, it's just a huge clusterfuck. People from every other country. I mean, just because the way Europe is, you can go to Amsterdam. It's only 30 minutes away. You can go to fucking, Ireland. You can go to Italy and fucking Germany, all on a fucking train ride or bus ride. But at the same time, that was amazing because I think, being able, here in the U.S., we're very lucky. We have one language, but many, many cultures. There, they have many languages and many cultures and all together. So it was sensory overload for me. Walking through Los Rom.
I thought that was the nude beach.
No. That's normal for me. That's normal for me. I had normal conversations with girls that, had their bikinis off and everything because, you just look in their eyes and then
That's what Omar does.
Just a normal thing.
That's just what Omar does. Let him be. That's just what he does.
I'm just talking to her.
Yeah, no, it's normal. It's totally normal. Just having a conversation with her, and her titties aren't even fake or anything. Oh yeah, thank you so much, Europeans, for just like walking around the beach all looking good. That I felt like a fat ass there, to be honest with you. Okay, so like, people will look at me, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're in pretty good shape." Well, not European shape.
Is there like 5 white guys on the beach that just look fucking horrible? Like American.
They're all
white
Americans.
Guys? Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone
only the
else
Americans, and they quarantine them off into like the back of the beach.
they like pasty white guys.
Yeah. They like everyone there has like that tan that you see, but it's a real tan. It's like that orange fake tan that people pay like $100 for.
The spray on tan.
But no, not the spray on tan, but like the tan where they go in a booth and they sit for like a few hours and they work on it and they make it look a certain color, that golden kind of like orange. I was like, people look different here in the Mediterranean.
Yeah, because they live at the beach the whole time. Like it's always like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you go to the gym all day. It's like straight up like New Jersey Shore, but everybody is like classy and speaks a different language and is cultured. And like, I felt like an idiot, kind of. What I started doing though when I got drunk
Same thing happened to me when I had my homecoming. Yeah,
right?
when I went back to Switzerland, dude, I felt like a fucking fat American slob.
Yeah.
I'm stupid too.
Yeah.
On top of it.
I found myself like doing sit-ups in the morning and doing push-ups just so I can walk around the beach and look like a normal person. Because so I wear extra large because I like it to be comfortable. Like, a lot of people usually in America, they wear one size bigger.
Oh, they're medium and small.
Dude, it's extra schmedium. I have never seen that size before. I went to Zara, and we have Zara here in the U.S., right? But it's a different kind of Zara. It's like you go in there, and I couldn't wear anything. I mean, I couldn't even imagine for you trying to find a size 16 shoe. Like for me, I wear 12 and a half to 13, depending on what kind of style of shoe you wear. And they're like, oh no. We don't carry 47. No 47s here. No 47s here. Like 45. Here, try this. I'm gonna fucking walk around with my toes all curled up.
Yeah.
For fashion, I guess that's what people do.
Oh, they do.
We were at New People in San Francisco.
Yes,
like that.
yes.
One of their clothing stores there. We went up over the weekend, and one of Leanne's friends, one of my girlfriend's friends, was asking if they had something another size. They're like, no, we only carry size 0.
Yeah,
because it's from Japan.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, too bad for you.
Yeah.
That's just the way it goes.
Same type of thing.
Yeah, you have to like either conform to this lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I don't know where they fucking do. I mean, they must just work out like crazy. Okay, I've never walked.
They eat healthier.
They don't have giant pizzas sitting in front of them.
True. That's true. Yeah, the pizzas they have are like this. They're like small.
Yeah.
Or
they're thin.
Yeah,
they're thin too.
Yeah,
Italian
super
style.
thin. Yeah, but man, the food there was incredible. Barcelona is like, for me, it was like...
How many McDonald's did you see?
I saw a few, but
I mean, they exist.
Yeah, why would I go there? Hell no. I'd rather eat like fucking the... It's like their version of the McDonald's is like every other corner they have like a place that sells a bocadilla, where they have like in Barcelona I'm talking about, like the Iberian ham and cheese sandwich or whatever. And that just is bananas. Like so good. I did nerd out a little bit in Barcelona. Portugal, it's like you walk into like, any bookstore or magazine rack, kind of like newspaper stand place, and you have you have a little comic section or manga, comics and manga. It's like kind of like put together. But I hit up this one shop, I think Continuum Comics in Barcelona, and it was dope. Like they actually it was 2 stories. So one floor they had all dedicated to, it was primarily graphic novels, and then downstairs, that's where you really nerd out. You can like find like actual like Star Wars pieces from the 80s, and they had them in plastic bags with all their weapons and everything, and they sold it for like the market price. They already knew that shit. They know what's up. And like all these like people from like Japan were like down there like, oh god, they're like reaching for that shit and going crazy. They had these like a bunch of vintage posters from different like manga or anime in Japan, but the European versions of it, so people go crazy for that. Kind of like, here in the US, where we try to find like those cool like Jock posters are made by Jock for, different movies that come out. They have, what I found was interesting, some books they had, like the regular books, like you pay, for us, we pay like $3.99 or $4.99. They had some books that were like the equivalent of like $7, and you flip it. So you, on one side, it's like the Japanese manga, where you have one story and then you flip it. So you have one story, it's Justice League, and then you turn it around, it's Justice League of America. That was pretty cool.
I have the 4 issues of the New Warriors published in, I think, Italian, and they were like 2 stories in one on one, and you flip it around, it's one on the other side. So
there you go. Yeah. So that was cool. I was just looking at all those kind of differences. I wanted to make it to Madrid. That's where supposedly the comics and definitely the Hero Clicks. It's like it's on. It's bustling. It's like crazy. Like in Madrid, it's like they have like
it's on the streets.
Well, the bigger cities are going to have more varied international things. So.
Yeah, I think Barcelona is just too cool. Like I was telling you, it's too cool for school.
Too touristy.
Yeah, like touristy. It's all about the lampshade. Fans of comics. People that are walking around with the shirts and just to be cool. You saw tons of Superman or X-Men shirts, but they're all in different cool European colors that were mixed colorways that made no fucking sense in the comics world. Like it's like the same way they do the treatment on
like
the typesetting.
Superman or something.
Yeah, exactly. So that was just the kind of nerd shit that I was like taking in. I was like, oh god, really? Yeah,
that's funny.
But it was an awesome trip. It went by actually more than anything. I got homesick. Actually, I missed my dog.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I was really missed my dog. And
Who's taking care of him?
Connie.
Oh, cool.
Connie and Mike took care of him. So,
Because
yeah. Thank you.
Listeners know
Take care of our
Connie and
baby.
Mike are.
Well, no, he knows him.
They will.
Yeah.
One day they will.
Yeah, who knows?
It's just a preview of things to come, man.
Yes.
Get with the program, Brock.
Yeah, so
I just like how we're culturing our audience.
yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I mix in the comics too, and it's just it's me. I'm a part of the podcast, so whatever.
I know. I'm saying I like this.
Okay, sweet.
I don't want to punch you.
Well, here I'm gonna mix things up a little bit. We're gonna talk about a few news stories, and then I'll finish with some questions.
Cool.
So, sounds fun, Omar. I was gonna say I have to show some of your pictures, but I've already seen too many of your pictures on.
Oh yeah,
online.
I'll throw up a few of the beach pictures on the forums.
I don't know if Facebook will allow those up for too long.
I'm sure other Ryan Dog or Rye Dog, he'll probably take them down on the forums too. But I'll throw them up for a second.
All right, let's focus on something Toby here is going to get mad about. Don't
talk about it. Stop. Just move on. Next part.
This is on Bleeding Cool this morning. There's a lot of talk that Nightwing. I guess we need to possibly spoiler tag this whole conversation, just because who knows?
Because rumors could be spoilers.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah,
Rumors could be right.
There's a lot of talk that Nightwing may get killed off, or I think we talked about previously, kind of doing a double agent thing, quote unquote, killed off, but then working with the villains or something like that.
Like Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier, they killed him off, and then he was undercover.
Well, yeah, but they brought him right back. They were more like along the lines of what they did in Young Justice with like Aqualad and all that.
Yeah,
it's kind of what we were thinking. But they're now saying the big thing is that according to Bleeding Cool, rumor has it that they're actually going to out Dick Grayson, like kind of the way they did Peter Parker in Civil War. That his identity will become public, and then there you go. Which could lead to weird things with Batman, or
I was going to say, how can you out him without outing Bruce?
Well, because everyone already knows Bruce funds Batman Incorporated, so having one of his boards be part of it could, I mean, this seems like kind of a nothing. Like Nightwing, I mean, I guess a lot of people have secret identities, but Spider-Man, the reason that worked, well, I don't want to say well with Spider-Man, the reason that was a moment for Spider-Man was that his identity and protecting his people is always so hard for him. Mm-hmm. For Dick Grayson, it's like, okay, well, you're Batman, you're Dick Grayson. He could just fucking vanish you if he wants to, and he can come with some other identity and move somewhere else or do something. So I don't know. I don't know if this matters or if anyone even cares about this.
I don't see it,
but I don't. Yeah, I think this is just some throwaway thing.
It's a red herring.
Is this mixed in with like the Forever Evil?
This is part of Forever Evil. Yeah.
Well, the one thing they have confirmed is Forever Evil's going to be significant for Nightwing. What significant means is what all the rumors are about.
I still think he's going to Aqualad. He's going Black Ops, and he's going to seem like he's changing teams, but he's actually not. I'm sticking with that.
Yeah. Well, they've already made it clear that the bad guys may not be the bad guys going forward.
Huh. I do like I do like.
Here, can I spoil all that since that was the Crime Syndicate stuff was already announced?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think that's much of a spoiler because they've been pushing the Crime Syndicate so strongly. So,
but a lot of what's been coming out and has been confirmed is that with the Crime Syndicate, it sounds like the Forever Evil event sort of puts the normal bad guys like Lex Luthor and that kind of stuff in sort of the good guy position, taking on the Crime Syndicate.
Right.
Because they supposedly are going to defeat the heroes in the Justice League and all of that.
Well, they've already said the whole point
it.
of Forever Evil is the villains win. All right.
Yeah.
So I assume they're all going to get shuttled off to Earth 3, the Crime Syndicate world, and be there and be like, oh, crap, things bad. We got to find a way back. And not actually die. I mean, to me, that seems to make sense. So, but we'll see.
Yep. And I guess the undercover thing would also make some sense because one of the few things they've also confirmed is that Batman was going to be working with Lex Luthor and all of them against the Crime Syndicate, which would make sense if that Batman was Dick Grayson.
Yeah.
After Bruce goes poof with the rest of the Justice League.
Marvel had a bit of a DC moment with a creator walking off a book, actually 2 books. Matt Fraction walked off both Fantastic Four titles, including issues already solicited. So they were printed with his name, even though he didn't write them. So interesting to see the other side a little more publicly getting, some creator shifting around. It always happens with Marvel, but for whatever reason, it's been so focused on DC.
Totally.
So this is,
it's tough. I mean,
it's rare to. I mean, a creator like Matt Fraction, who's got to be like one of their number 2, number 3 guys at Marvel right now. Kind of walking off 2 titles that he to some level of success. I mean, they're not quite Hickman numbers, but they're not. I mean, they're not great, but they're not the worst.
Do you think that has any type of connection to, was it Fox now really like pushing a lot of their creative energies with Millar towards a new Fantastic Four reboot?
No, I think Marvel and DC are just as bad of be treating creators as they ever have been. I just don't think anything is different. I think we just, for whatever reason, it's been so focused on Marvel or on DC recently, and now we're kind of seeing a bit of the Marvel side.
Yeah. Well, it's. I mean, when I was in Image Expo, I got a real sense that, Matt Fraction was there. It's like he was really behind his projects that were coming out with Image, more so than the stuff he was doing at Marvel.
There was an interesting comment brought up a few weeks back when some of the sales figures for The Wake and maybe Collider came out. I think it was actually on Bleeding Cool, where they said, hey, these numbers are great, but some creators are realizing what their numbers, what their royalties or pay would be like if this was published by Image, because probably it's going to not be too far off at this point. Vertigo and Image may outsell Vertigo. I mean, it'll change with Sandman and the upcoming books, but if you sell a few less copies, you're still making a whole hell of a lot of money, more money over at Image. And Image will take any of these guys. Yeah. Image is if Image publishes 100 books a month, there's no split off their nuts for it, because it's not their money really at the end of the day. No. They promote. There's some promotion and distribution of it, but this is and the printing of it, but all the money aspects and editing and writing and there's no payment up front for any of this stuff. And these are all, with very little exception, non-returnable sales. So it's all money to them. Image just takes their cut. They're not putting any money up like maybe Marvel or DC would. So but have you guys even been I gave up Fantastic Four.
Oh, I've been reading it. I mean,
is it getting any better? It was bad.
It's just sort of all over the place. Just because they started out with that general story of going off to the macroverse,
yeah,
whatever.
It just felt like these disconnected little stories that.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's not really building up. Well, it does not seem to be building up to anything. But in some ways, it feels like your typical Stargate TV show or something like that, where you take these characters and and they go to a new world with all this stuff going on.
There was one episode or one issue really early on that actually kind of reminded me a little bit of Doctor Who. It was like this really out of nowhere adventure they had, and it was done, and I was like, okay, well, this seems like a cool idea, but the way comics have been written, and especially in the last 20 years, has been this ongoing narrative being titles. These little done-in-one stories, people think they want them, but whenever we see them actually done, so few people buy them or enjoy them. There could be good done-in-one stories.
What about the Dini Batman?
Again, that's one example out of thousands of books. And really, the last time I've seen someone really try to push the single issue story in a mainstream Marvel or DC superhero book with any sort of success.
Well, the reason why I bring up the Dini Batman specifically is
are you talking about? Did you write Batman or Detective Comics? Yes. Yeah, that was
because Detective was great with its single issue or at most like 2-issue stories when they first started. And I think a large part of that just had to do with the strength of basically the Batman's Rogues Gallery and that kind of stuff, where they could do a one and done. And even then, they had arcs with Riddler and that kind of stuff that would...
I think you just nailed it, because it's the Batman lends himself to those stories, I would say, more than any other character. But also, it was not Batman. This was the secondary title. If FF was random one-shot adventures of the Fantastic Four, I think that would work. As sort of like, let's get various creators in here, or various one-shot stories or two-shot stories, because you still have Fantastic Four. Doing that in the main title with like, oh, we're going to be gone for a minute, but something happens and we come back. So you kind of have this overarching narrative, but it didn't, at least in the first 3 or 4 issues, it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think...
That's too bad, because I really loved Fantastic Four and FF when Hickman was on it.
Yeah.
I also love what Fraction was doing with Casanova. And I really felt like he was probably just like the wrong pick to go on FF, because it's so similar to what he does in Casanova, which is like time splitting, family stuff. It's like the same kind of story. And I would just assume that there's so many Fraction fans out there that would probably jump on FF and Fantastic Four just to see the same thing that he's probably doing in Casanova.
It's funny to me that you have so many people working on these Marvel titles for so long, and when they did the big Marvel Now switch, it almost felt like maybe these people shouldn't be working on these titles, because Hickman, I think Bendis going over to X-Men is the only one for me that has really worked. I thought Hickman's Avengers would be amazing, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I've been very less than impressed with it. Something like Fraction, and then Fraction and Elrod on FF, I was like, here comes X-Force, X-Statix again. Here we go, right? This is going to be the new version of it. It's not Peter Milligan, but at least it's a similar idea. And FF is just, I thought, nigh unreadable.
Do they still have it kind of like Power Pack based, the younger team, or
no,
nothing at all?
No, it's Ant-Man. What the hell's his name? Scott Lang, Ant-Man, She-Hulk. Medusa, and
random chick.
Medusa,
and she thing, right? That's like some random girl in like a thing costume. It doesn't.
That's odd.
I don't like it.
That's really odd.
I don't like it.
Well, I like the story of why you have this she thing, and that's just because Johnny forgot to pick a replacement, so he asked his girlfriend to fill in.
That's funny. I love him like that.
I just think like across the board, I've just been. I wanted to like more of the Marvel Now books, and I think this is just another example of it just not. But we had the same with the New 52, right? Half the books just didn't hit, right? At this point, more than half. Well, probably half just didn't work.
Yeah.
And I think Marvel's probably a similar number.
I don't know. I think, unfortunately, in some ways, in the Marvel case, like the Bendis leaving Avengers and moving to X-Men felt like a sort of shift at about the right time, just because at that point his Avengers stuff had kind of puttered out beyond, like, it was time for him to be on a new property.
About a year or two prior to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like you just sort of like hit that big sort of finale with the Fantastic Four stuff going on then with the FF. So that's a much harder title, in my opinion, to sort of take over from, because
the grand story of Fantastic Four when Hickman was on it to what became Fantastic Four, it's like this. I mean, they don't always have to be one-upping each other, because you can't do it forever, but it just felt like this is just not nowhere. And I hate to compare them because they should be different, but it's just not on the same field. It's just not nowhere as interesting, and just
But I feel the same way about sort of like the Captain America book and stuff. You came off a big, huge run, and I kind of think your best bet in these kind of cases, and they would never do this because you'd basically be putting down the sales of these hot titles at the time, but they need a way to sort of decompress after those sort of epic runs to the point where people can't, like, at least I feel like I'm seeing the same thing on the Green Lantern titles right now coming off of the John's run. It's just like you need some sort of, like, I hate to say it, I almost think they should have announced a new team. They should bring on a bunch of temporary people to do some stories and sort of decompress a little and then launch into the next.
Well, in a lot of these books, it seems to be the case that they are temporary.
Yeah. But I kind of wish they'd start out, instead of trying to bring on, this is our big new creative team, when you come off a run like that, I think you do need some time to sort of decompress.
Well, I think it's okay if you're going in the series, but when you're relaunching it at number one, you kind of, like Marvel Now did, you kind of they kind of, build themselves into a corner where they have to have the big creative team on these books, especially when you start as a number one. If you're continuing something like Green Lantern, where, yes, you kind of need these temporary writers to kind of move the story forward, and then you bring on another big creative team, that I think works a lot better. But when you redo it as a number one, you have to have that flash of that bling of, oh, there's a new artist and writer on this book.
Well,
big.
Technically, do you really need to, just because the number one's going to sell better anyways?
Yeah, I don't know. Long term, I'll be curious to see what kind of the outcome, because I know they're already the rumors they're getting ready for like Marvel Now 2, basically relaunching a ton of titles again. Not too dissimilar to the way DC did their kind of second and third wave of New 52 books, the New 52 number one. So, I mean, I'm just kind of looking on the shelf here. There's definitely a handful of books are going to go with this next wave, but I think the X-Men books are for the most part in a decent place right now. I think the Marvel Now suited the X-Men books the best.
At least my feel is that was the line that needed the most help in some ways.
But Spider-Man got a big boost, and I know we talked about how much I like Superior Foes of Spider-Man. Spider-Man Team Up I actually thought was really good. So we're back to multiple Spider-Man books.
I like the Scarlet Spider crossover from last week. That was really good too.
I kind of fell off Scarlet Spider, but I will pick it up for the crossover.
Yep.
So.
That was good. I liked it.
Yeah, but I think like the Avengers and the Avenger-related books, Iron Man, Cap, everything that's not Avengers or New Avengers. There's a bunch of other ones that are just I don't know, not doing it for me.
Yeah, you got to read. You have to read Deadpool number 13 though. That's like probably one of the best books I've read like in the last year and a half.
Is it really?
It's so good. It's just like it's just like a 70s like flashback story. It's great.
Nice. Have you read the follow-up from this week?
No. It's good too? Oh, yes.
I tried to read
brings back the white man.
Yeah.
I tried to read Deadpool. So awesome. I did not. I mean, I'm not a huge Deadpool fan, and I've read him occasionally in the past, but like, boy,
I'm a huge Larfleeze fan, and I try to read Larfleeze, and I think it's shitty. So
yeah, there you go. It happens.
Now I have to defend Larfleeze.
Here we go.
Larfleeze is awesome.
Here we go.
Larfleeze makes me laugh.
Okay, let me find this. I had this piece here.
I wanted to laugh.
I really did.
You didn't like the first issue when he was recounting his epic story and you kept seeing what really happened?
No, of course I did.
The second
one was not good, though. I just didn't like it. It just felt so, like, anticlimactic.
I don't know. I liked his little butler talking to, like, the little servants of the other guy.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, he should have got more shine.
Did you guys hear this thing about the Kevin Smith and Grant Morrison podcast about Killing Joke?
No.
Did you guys hear this?
That's Grant Morrison's idea now?
No. More on this interview. I haven't listened to it yet, but if I'm not mistaken, because I listened to the previous one.
Was it on the Fat Man?
Yeah, Fat Man on Batman. Kevin Smith was asking people to come back with like their top 5 Batman comics, and Killing Joke probably on a lot of those lists. So I'm assuming that's how they came to this. But Grant Morrison was talking to Kevin Smith about the ending of Killing Joke. And exactly what happens on that last page and sort of his theory behind it. And And they got in this big kind of like, oh my god! And there's been a lot of talk online about whether Morrison's right, or this is a theory other people have talked about before.
You gotta listen to it now. I really enjoyed the 2 Morrison episodes that they did
really
earlier,
good.
and they
Really
were
good.
fantastic.
Morrison's
Hilarious.
one of those guys where I can just listen to him talk
Yeah,
forever.
he's so fucking
Yeah.
cerebral. I love it.
Yeah, but if you haven't listened to that, go listen to that because he always does a really good job. He basically says like, yeah, Batman kills Joker at the end of the book, like in the last page, just as the panel's pulling away, like he's like laughing as the police sirens are coming up, and then the laughter just stops.
I could just visualize Morrison telling his story, and just like everything is like, oh shit, that makes all sense.
It does, yeah, it does. I mean, this is not the first time I've heard this, but it definitely was. At the end of the book, basically, is the Joker telling Batman a kind of a bad joke, and they both laugh as they're laughing kind of hysterically as the police sirens are coming up, right after he is.
I just think Batman punches him and shuts him up.
Well,
Knocks him the fuck out.
Well, we don't see it, right? Because the camera pans down and we just see like the rainy ground, right? And so, but Morrison kind of brought this theory to a more recent light, and
See Morrison, yeah, you fucking killed him.
a lot of people like it. Well, right,
Fucking killed him. It's bloody Batman.
yeah, sure, but
He just slit his throat.
but it,
Fuck him.
Wouldn't there be gurgling?
but it makes a certain amount of sense. So.
Yeah.
I hate to bring up Bleeding Cool again, but I have to do
Oh,
this.
Jesus.
You were totally like,
This has been like the week of Bleeding
his
Cool.
nuts.
This has been the week of Bleeding Cool actually posting stuff worth talking about. And I hate responding to the most the most clickbaiting articles of all time.
Are you just answering to all the fanboys that walk in here and tell you the same story and go, hey, just listen to the podcast?
I've had that happen a few times. And just some of the most clickbaiting headline of all time. I'm just going to read the headline here. Black-focused Mighty Avengers #1 heavily underordered by comic retailers.
so racist.
Yeah. And now watch yourself,
There's
Omar.
black people on Mighty Avengers.
So Mighty Avengers is the upcoming Avengers book with Luke Cage, the Power Man character that they created a couple years ago. That's not Luke Cage.
Wait, what?
There was this really bad Iron Fist and Power Man.
There's a new
series.
Power Man.
It's one with glasses.
quote unquote Power Man. Right, it's not Luke Cage. It's like a
Oh.
new Power Man. But this guy, I think he appeared like a one miniseries and they hadn't heard from him. But now he's
He's back,
back
for
for this
vengeance.
thing, right? Was it White Tiger? Is that her name? And the new Captain Marvel, the one from Avengers, and Spider-Man. Like it looks like Superior Spider-Man, but a lot of people. I don't even want to talk about. There's a lot of rumors that the Ultimate Universe is going away. And that Miles Morales Spider-Man is coming over to the regular Marvel Universe. Which, good riddance, Ultimate Universe. You were great at one point, but that was 10 years ago. You're done.
I've liked Hunger so far.
I don't even.
What's wrong with you?
I
See,
like
you're
Hunger.
the person I should be talking to because I love I love me some Galactus. Mm-hmm. Eating up planets.
Yeah, I like that too. Well, I hope he eats up a whole bunch of planets in the Ultimate Universe because I want those books. And, like the Ultimate Universe was such a good thing and such just so groundbreaking for Marvel and just so ballsy and so risky, and it worked. And then they drug it out for like 15 years. Like it should have just been 2 or 3
It was
years.
fucking phenomenal in the beginning.
It's like the Ultimate books, or it's like the All Star books. For DC. This is a great idea that needs to be a self-contained thing, and then it's done. Making it part of the continuity and all the crossovers and blah blah and time. It's like no,
I don't agree.
Have you liked anything Ultimate in like the last 5-6 years?
He said he likes Hunger.
Well, yes, I do like Hunger. But
Are you listening to Charlie?
me, where things diverged with the Ultimate Universe is when it stopped being about retelling stories and they started trying to change things for shock value,
Yeah.
is the way I'd put it. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
so much started to just be not, let's retell a Doc Ock story. It's more like, you know what? We're going to make Doc Ock a mutant, and we're going to make Cable Wolverine, and we're going to,
Yeah. I agree. I think that happened when they started having a rotating creative team.
Well, that's the trouble.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
when they started, it was fairly established that Bendis was in control over
Bendis
Spidey.
and Mark Millar,
You know,
yeah.
and Mark Millar was in control over the X-Men. And that's when he saw when things kind of got messy is when the Fantastic Four didn't have a real creator kind of like a showrunner, basically. Like Bendis was basically the showrunner of Ultimate Spider-Man. Millar was really the showrunner on X-Men. Come Fantastic Four, it was a mess. Right, and then when he started having rotating creators on X-Men, that's when it kind of went downhill and became a mess, right?
Yeah.
When you finally had the artist leave on Spidey, sure, maybe it slowed down a little before that, but that's when people really died off of that book too. So,
well, I think Ultimatum played a big part.
Oh, Ultimatum played a huge part, but again,
Ultimates
that was...
3 and Ultimatum were sort of the breaking point for most people that I know.
Because I mean, when I got back into comics, like 6 years ago, it was like I was reading the Ultimate books, and they were really good, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then Ultimates 3 was coming out, and I'm like, this.
Well, at least for Ultimates, you could have 2 hardcovers and goes, "This is my collection."
Yeah.
Right. With Ultimate Spider-Man, it's a little trickier, and with Ultimate X-Men, it's very tricky. And Fantastic Four is not even worth picking up. Sorry.
Like I think
the first Bendis stories, because Bendis was on Fantastic Four.
The Doom having little devil legs and stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I think the Ultimate Universe went both ways when it should have picked one. Either you retell the stories in a modern setting, or you just throw everything out and you completely change it. They did both, and that just caused too much conflict because it's like some of it's the same, but some of it's different. I think you need to pick one or the other.
What got me excited about the Ultimate Universe in a lot of ways tended to be like in Ultimate X-Men, I remember when they started building up towards like Apocalypse and I was excited. I'm like, oh, Ultimate Apocalypse and Ultimate Dark Phoenix and I was really excited, and then they completely dropped the ball on that stuff, trying to change things up rather than.
Yeah, when they were starting combining characters, that really is that's when it fell through. I mean, Gambit and Rogue being the same character, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. Wolverine being Cable, that doesn't work. And so on. It's like one. It's not even one thing, right? It's one after another and another and another and another.
Maybe it's just because of the limited nature of the Earth 1 books from DC. They're different, they're changing, but to me, I feel the essence is still there, and the outcome is still similar, where the Marvel, it started that way. It definitely started in the right direction. You had about a year or two of some really, really good books, very interesting ideas they went through. They were close, but modern and different, and different enough to make them interesting, but not so different that they were unrecognizable. And then the seam started to split, and that's where it came out.
They went from having a different take, a different spin on it, to let's change things up, like Charlie says.
Just change things.
Yeah, which was very annoying after that.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we hear the official end of the Ultimate Universe, I'm sure we can talk more about it. But this is about bleeding cool link baiting articles or click.
But that's okay. Hunger is awesome.
Yeah,
he's got Galactus, and he's kicking ass.
Well, as a comic book retailer who heavily underordered the Black Focus Mighty Avengers #1, let me tell you why. It has nothing to do with them being black, contrary to what this headline would probably make you believe. It has everything to do with every Avengers title that is launched post-Avengers and New Avengers has sold abysmally. And this is just another one of characters that most people don't care about by creative teams. Either people dislike because Greg Land's doing the artwork, or the writer is no one I'm familiar with.
That's messed up.
The characters are no one anyone cares about. And when you have Avengers AI, which I actually admittedly like and sell like 7 copies of, right? Avengers Arena, Secret Avengers, again, I like Secret Avengers. I sell like 10 copies of it.
I even kind of like Avengers Arena.
I have issues.
Is Nick Spencer still in Secret Avengers?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Captain Marvel and just selling nothing, and Avengers Assembled selling 15, 20 copies.
I just don't like it that, when Disney Marvel has a hit in any Avengers movie, all of a sudden we got 12 freaking Avengers titles.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. We have the 2, and the 2 seem to work, and then these other 6 Avengers books don't sell. I ordered this expecting it to sell as well as those. Nothing to do with race, gender.
Yeah.
Very little to do with the characters, other than the characters, or no one that anyone care about.
What about the Mexican Justice League character? What's that guy's name?
Vibe.
Yeah.
I sell very few copies of Vibe.
Okay.
I fully expect
comic is good.
I fully expect the next previews will have the cancellation of Vibe, Katana, Green Team, and the Movement. There's no way those books survive another month.
Good. That means we can have a Captain Planet book, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
There's no way. Again, 4 books that should not exist. Sorry, DC fans, but they shouldn't. Those books are, not that they're terrible books, mind you, and some of these Avengers books are really good, but there's too many of them. They shouldn't exist. They're taking up space.
They really should just bring back West Coast Avengers.
Hey, but thank you.
That will work.
Thank you, DC Nation, for Beware the Batman, because Katana is awesome as a sidekick, I think.
I'm still 2 behind now.
I'm
Great.
I'm
Wait,
still
did
way
the
behind.
West Coast Avengers omnibus come out already? Did I totally miss the boat on that?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I may have. Uh-oh.
Let's talk about our big book for the week. A big book for the month, really, I guess. Infinity #1. Marvel Comics. Hickman's book coming out of the 2 Avengers titles. The big Marvel event for the year.
Rock
Now-
already has us gripe.
All I'm going to say is this. I mean, I have stuff to say about the book, but I want to start off with what I said online the other day.
Okay, before you say that though, have you been reading? Have you been reading
I've-
Thanos Rising?
I've read every issue of Thanos
okay.
Rising.
Okay,
I've read
cool.
every issue of Avengers and every
you
issue of New Avengers.
Look at you, you're ready.
I am. I
Thanos
wish.
Rising is awesome, by the
Yeah,
way.
it is.
Yes,
it is.
it's incredible.
It is. Number 5 needs to come out. It should have come out before this. So it sucks that it.
The
that,
28th?
yeah, it sucks that it got pushed back, but I don't know, whatever. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
fine. I just want to start this again. This is pure numbers. Nothing to do with the quality or content. This is the lowest selling Marvel event #1 book by a large margin for me. And I ordered it as I ordered most of these other books.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to pick up. I don't know if people just don't give a fuck. But this is sold less than. We had 3 other books that week outsell it.
Really?
Yeah.
How about
So-
on the what is it?
Or
The
2 other books.
digital?
I'm sorry. 2 other. It's a
Digital?
third. It's a third selling.
Is it
book.
a huge drop off on digital also?
I have no idea. I mean, Marvel claims they sold out of their 250,000 print run, which I'm assuming means many retailers are sitting on boatloads of variants. They flip on eBay, and these will go and end up in quarter bins, even at $5 a book.
Sure.
And I think the $5 price tag has something to do with it, despite it being actually the cheapest Marvel book published this year, because it's actually 2 full issues.
Yeah.
$5, $2.50 an issue. But I'm just saying, I promoted this as much as I promote. I give to the people I would give all the Marvel event books to. I just had no interest in this book, and I don't know. I don't know what's up. You guys read it and liked it, I think. Tell me what you thought. I read it and I didn't like it, but I'll tell you what I think later.
I read it and liked it, but this is the one little caveat I'm going to give this title. So, yes, as I talked about with Hunger, I like Hunger and I like Galactus. I have always really liked Thanos because of Infinity Gauntlet and all that. So, I give this book a large leeway just because it's got Thanos in it, and I love Thanos. And this is a much better Thanos than we saw in Avengers Assemble not too long ago.
I skipped that book completely.
Yeah. So as of right now, I'm perfectly content with this book to the point where I think it's the first Marvel event title I have actually purchased in a long time, and not just read.
But I mean,
Here at the
you're
shop.
caught up on all the Avengers stuff
Yeah.
and everything? Okay.
Brock, I have a question for you.
Oh, shit.
What does a #1 usually do for you in an event book? What is it supposed to do for you?
Catch your interest.
Catch your interest?
Oh, you're supposed to drop your drawers.
Drop your drawers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's supposed to catch your interest, and it's also supposed to be kind of a guiding force
yeah.
for where this is going to go.
To kind of link into all the spin-off books, or because the other spin-off books are like New Avengers, and the 10 other Avenger books, and all the Spider-Man books, and every other title that's going to be connected that are Avengers or X-Men or something.
There's actually not that many crossovers.
Yeah. I just like that it's 6 issues, so it's supposedly feeling contained, because I really felt... What was the last big Marvel event? I don't remember. It was good, right?
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. I loved Age of Ultron. That was, but that dragged.
Is Age of Ultron really an event, though?
Was Age-
technically,
Is it
It
more of
was.
an event than this is?
I guess they're kind of on the same level. I guess this isn't a Civil War or AVX. This
Yeah.
is a B-level event.
It shouldn't be, though. It really shouldn't. And I feel that, the people that love Avengers, the people that love New Avengers, and supposedly there's a divide between them, because that's what Higgins says.
And people who
There's-
love Thanos.
No, I straight up. I know I've had many people on Twitter be like, yes, I hate Avengers, I like New Avengers, or I hate New Avengers, I like New Avengers. Like, this divide is, I believe it's real. I really think there are some people, myself included, that like one over the other. I think they're very different, and I'll talk about that.
I really like both of them. It shows 2 different writing styles of Hickman, and with two very different artists between New Avengers and Avengers, and we see a mesh in that in Infinity. I don't remember the last time I seen Chung draw something, but I think it's great.
Crusade?
And also, what's that?
Children's Crusade.
That's right, and that's another book I didn't read, but I wanted to. That was by was it Heinberg? Heinberg.
That's great.
Yes. I really wanted to get into that, but I just
Has a nice hardcover.
Yeah, it's very nice.
there you
I
go.
have it.
There you go.
I'm not sure Charlie has it.
I have it.
Damn it!
In the same way that Charlie was saying he's a big fan of Thanos, I'm a huge fan of Black Bolt, but I have really not read enough of him in the last maybe 4 years. Only through like Fantastic Four or some other books where he's just an ancillary character, which he's really cool as. But it seems to me, obviously, at least the way they're starting, that he's pretty big.
Do some good stuff with him in the Illuminati stuff.
Oh, I love that.
The last
Yeah.
time I saw him really get his props was like in War of Kings.
Yeah.
War Kings and the space stuff was really good.
Yeah. So, I'm enjoying it. As number one, I think, what you answered is grabbing your attention and everything. I was already loving it, so I think that this book was almost like written for me. So, I like seeing Thanos kind of like in comparison to Infinity Gauntlet. It's just like him by himself or with Death. He has like all of these little minions and people that he works through that are also super powerful, and they have this mystique to him because they
I just love the scene when everybody was freaking out that he was talking about going after Earth.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, at least for me, I read 14 issues of Avengers. What are you up to?
20 now, I think.
20? Is it fucking 20 already?
18 or some shit.
Good lord. They're hauling ass in that book. I've read every issue of Avengers, and I have responded from every issue of Avengers with the same thing. I have no idea what happened in this book. I don't understand. There was one issue I remember us talking about that I really liked. Every other issue of this book, I'm like, what is going on in this title? I have no clue. I don't understand. Now, look, I'm not a very smart guy. I read comic books about people punching people, okay? Like, that's all I care about. Hickman's on a level. Some of the books I read, and I'm like, this is fucking amazing.
You understand Morrison, so you're not that dumb.
Yeah.
I have to break out the protractor when I'm reading a Morrison book, or
There's
bring
like
out
the Wikipedia page.
long division.
This is
but
like 50 other pages are up, and he's reading it.
yeah, sure. But Hickman is just like this Avengers stuff. Now, FF, I followed FF completely. Something about Avengers I find just unreadable, and I cannot understand what is going on in that book. I've read them all. I've read every issue.
The thing that really, I think, bothers you about Avengers, that bothers a lot of other people, is bringing in like this Avengers world, like 20 other characters that you can give a fuck about.
Yeah.
Let me just focus on these 5, the main core 5.
Well,
but what he does though is he uses all those other little minion Avengers and mini Avengers to make those other guys more prominent.
But they're not in it. Everyone that talks in Avengers has the same voice to me.
You and I were talking about they're interchangeable. Like we had talked about this, and then I picked up Infinity, and I was reading, and I'm literally like, I'll swap Cap for Iron Man. It's
I
the same
think
thing.
every character in Avengers, right, is completely interchangeable. There is maybe with DaCosta and Sunspot and Cannonball or whatever. There's maybe a little, or not Sunspot, Sunspot, right?
Yeah.
There's maybe a little bit of like, oh, here's kind of the hip dudes, but everyone else is just completely interchangeable. The dialogue could be coming out of anyone's mouth. I don't find any characterization. I don't find any. It's bizarre because I think New Avengers, with the exception of maybe the most recent issue, which I found a little weird, I didn't understand what was going on between Black Panther and was it Namor?
Yeah, Namor.
Like, I have no idea. Like, this comes out of nowhere to me.
They're going to do Flashpoint.
Why?
Flashpoint.
Why are you confused by that?
I mean, they already fought, but they kind of broke up, and then they got back together, and now like they're suddenly fighting for no reason again. Like
They're not fighting for no reason.
I
though.
didn't get it. I read it and I was like, did I?
Well,
maybe
because of what happened to Wakanda in Age of X, AVX.
Are you trying to say you don't understand Wakandan people?
But what I'm saying.
God, this podcast is so racist.
But that was already done. They already got back together, is what I'm saying. Like again, this
They
feels
both begrudgingly got back together, quote unquote, in the Illuminati, but
Right.
that doesn't necessarily affect.
But like we've already done this.
But
It's like Namor already fucking
Black Panther's
sank.
not even the frickin' king of Wakanda anymore.
It just feels like you guys are hashing out this like 10-year-old.
Blood is thicker than water, man.
It's like oh, this happened like forever ago in comic book world. Like what do you even care about? You guys already made up.
It's probably been maybe a year in comic book.
But what I'm saying is they already made up. It's just, we've already done this. Why is this happening again?
Hey, Emma rejected Namor again, and Storm rejected Black Panther, and they're just taking out that aggression on each other.
I like that explanation better than anything.
But anyway. So
Bryce, you're Storm. She's such a bitch.
To me, Infinity is impossible to read. First of all, if you are not reading both Avengers books from issue 1, there is no access point for anyone who is not reading these.
So
books.
this is me going to chime in because Steven from the Infinite Longbox isn't reading either of the Avengers books, and he liked Infinity #1.
But what did he get out of it? I'm seriously curious because to me it's
okay. I'll make him come explain to you what he got out of it.
I'll listen to the episode. But to me, it's like I don't.
It may be interesting.
I literally understood half the issue. I understood the part that kind of involved the Illuminati and the guys on Earth. The whole start of the thing, I'm like, there's people and what's going on? Who are these people? And is this guy? And Ex Nihilo is a good guy for some reason from that last issue of Avengers. I'm like, I cannot follow this book in any way.
I'm someone that's not reading Avengers and not reading New Avengers. And I read this book, and the first two things that popped into my mind were, isn't Iron Man supposed to be with the Guardians? And
he's already back.
Well, that's the thing, but it's
because of Rocket Raccoon's technology. Come on, aren't you reading Guardians of the Galaxy?
But then the other thing isn't time supposed to be broken? Like I don't understand.
Wait, what?
Why? Like all this, there's like tons of explosions in this book. At some point in time, there's a planet looks like it's about to smash. The Illuminati.
I mean, the time.
I think he's complaining that he went into this event thinking it was going to have something to do with the fact they broke time, and it does not seem to have anything to do with this event.
No, they brought in. I mean, basically, what's been happening is that there's a sort of like this other dimension that's trying to creep into our dimension, and it's been brought over. And being held back by the gauntlet and the gems, basically, that the Illuminati have.
Well,
this
broke the gauntlet.
But now it's seeping in, right? I mean, isn't that sort of the new Avengers side of it?
The new Avengers side of it is they have these like incursion events that when they happen, essentially only one universe can survive. And they've
been trying to hold back this universe.
As far as I can tell, it's not so much as hold back the universe, it's about sacrificing other universes so they don't lose our universe.
Sure.
Like, I think they've had enough incursions now where they've been responsible for the destruction of at least one other universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the Avengers side of it, though, is the part to me that it's involving Ex Nihilo, it's involving Black Bolt. Like, Thanos is coming to Earth to get the gauntlet and the gems, but they sure fucking beat her on the bush for like 90 pages before. Like, it just feels like
they talk about how the gems are already gone. Because
but he's trying to find them. Or he obviously wants them. That's why. Why is Thanos coming to Earth if not to get the gems? That is the point of this book.
Black Bolt is a king, and he knows that he keeps his secrets. So scream, bitch.
I don't think it has anything to do with the gems this time. I think essentially because they destroyed the Infinity Gauntlet, essentially stopping one of those incursions.
But they've destroyed the gauntlet before. The gems have been lost before. I mean, to me, there is no end game in this book other than Thanos gets the gauntlet.
That's because Thanos is smarter than you.
I think Thanos wants to attack and destroy Earth because no one's ever done it before.
Well, right, because at the beginning of the issue,
be successful.
At the beginning, they're like, "Oh, Earth, you got to stay away from Earth. That place is fucked up." Like they already have this like thing where like you can't go to Earth, right? So it's like, oh, he's like, I'm going to go to the Earth. That's what the gauntlet.
Well, that's okay. It's off limits according to the Guardians of the Galaxy book.
Right. Well, that is
Which
Iron
involved,
Man's in, and that is involved.
Star-Lord just talked to Thanos.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's. I'm curious where they're taking it, but I feel I'm going to have the same reaction that I do with Avengers, is that I read it, I don't understand it, and nothing actually happens.
Well, and what I don't understand is that assassin they sent to get, or that person they sent, the Predator, assassin, whatever you want to call him, that got the secrets from Black Bolt, he could have killed like all of the Marvel Universe on his way over there.
But nobody
knew what the hell he was doing.
It's just like when you play Metal Gear Solid, you get more cred points when you don't get seen and you don't hear the.
Yeah. Jesus.
So send us in your thoughts on Infinity, especially.
I thought it was great
for me, especially if you haven't been reading Avengers. Like if you get it, tell me, explain to me the plot because I don't get it. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we have to go back and read more like Annihilation and all that. Because I looked at the chart at the back of the book. I was like, what the fuck is he trying to say?
He always does the glyphs. If you're not a Hickman fan, you're not a Hickman fan. You got to Nightly News, fucking all of his other books.
Yeah, that made sense to me.
She has a style.
Talking about that.
Yeah,
What
it
is
makes
it?
perfect sense.
That's the most easiest thing to understand.
Yeah, that's a reading
Squares
order.
are
It's
Avengers
shapes.
issues, and the diamonds are new Avengers.
Look, they have a perfect breakdown of how to buy the tie-in.
That's how my dog.
Yeah.
That's how my dog eats his treats. He matches shapes
And exactly
with
where they-
little things. Okay.
Exactly where they fit in. So this issue will take place between 4 and 5.
I really didn't put that much effort into it. I looked at it and was like,
Obviously
You
not.
obviously looked at it, rolled your eyes, didn't want to read it, and then said, "What the fuck is
Exactly.
that?"
I'm sorry, it doesn't say DC on it, but it's actually a really good book.
All right.
Hickman is superior to Johns right now. Sorry.
We're going to read some questions here.
Oh, hold on, before we go there. So I'm holding these 2 hunger issues, and if I remember correctly, just a little minutes ago, you said they were Ultimate books?
Yeah.
How in
Yes.
the world are they Ultimate books? It doesn't say
Because
anywhere.
they are in the Ultimate Universe.
Because they want to sell copies, so they didn't put the ultimate tag on it.
It says Age of Ultron Aftermath.
Huh?
Because it is technically
Yeah.
Aftermath.
Yeah,
But Age of Ultron was an Ultimate
it wasn't.
Universe.
They previewed it in Age of Ultron,
At the
where
end of Age of Ultron, basically when they broke the whole time-space continuum thing, essentially portals or holes were kind of torn open within the universe.
And it spun into the
So-
Ultimate Universe?
So Galactus basically went through one of those portals or holes and ended up in the Ultimate
that's a
Standard
big hole.
Universe.
Oh.
Galactus ended
And
up in the Ultimate
got
Universe.
it. Okay.
Angela went from the Image quote unquote universe to
Is that how they explained it?
Yes,
Oh boy.
and
So that
I'm
explains why
assuming they're
there's 2
gonna
Galactus
explain-
in the Ultimate Universe.
and I think they
Does that
will
also
also explain
why
why
Sam Jackson
Spider-Man
went to the Supreme
2099 is going to end up in Superior Spider-Man. Is my guess.
I can't wait to see that. That's gonna
Yeah.
be cool. Hey, look at Fykoff. Hey, isn't that the guy that was supposed to write Green Lantern?
Yeah.
Huh.
Look at that.
What
And
about
he
that? I
did
should jump on that book.
I Vampire. It's awesome.
Does that also explain why Sam Jackson, Nick Fury was in Supreme Power?
No, that was before.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, got some questions here. This is from Stefano, and actually very accurate, very, very topical based on what we were talking about.
What's up, Stefano?
He says, what would be your ideal number 1 issue? Any examples of number 1 issues you thought did it right? Now, to me, I think a number 1 issue should do 3 things. 1, it should introduce the character. 2, give some sort of long-term plot. And 3, end on a cliffhanger. The reason I mention this is because I think most event books, Marvel or DC, with almost a few exceptions, all of them do this. And Infinity is one of the ones that I think does not do a good job of it.
Actually,
What do you mean cliffhanger? Don't you want to? What was the best cliffhanger in one of your favorite movies of all time?
What? Favorite movie?
Favorite comic book movie of all time besides Superman, Man of Steel, Hope
Green
Man?
Lantern?
He's
Thanks.
baiting you
Avengers.
for Avengers.
Yes.
But
He ends the same way.
okay, it ends with Thanos, who's been
Smiling.
in the entire book.
He's doing his little ding.
It's not. It's not.
That's whatever.
There's nothing in this. It's just like, I mean, I guess at the halfway point.
Well, the whole idea is he's now going to launch an attack on Earth because the Avengers are preoccupied dealing with another disaster.
We knew that the whole time. Anyway, so what I'm saying is this: number 1 books, regardless of what you are, ongoing, event, miniseries, blah blah blah.
Okay, perfect number 1 issue.
don't-
Demon Knights from the New 52.
Yeah, I was going to just say this for all the comic conspiracy bashers to say we're pro DC. New 52 did a lot of those number 1 issues pretty darn well.
They all ended with awesome cliffhanger
Yeah,
issues.
and that's like the Joker face off and all of that. So that was pretty well done.
I think all the New 52 number 1s did a good job of introducing the characters, introducing some form of long plot, and ended on a cliffhanger. Now, that's not to say every issue number 2 was great, but I think they did a good job of starting all the series. And I think
Except for Hawk and Dove that
And
I couldn't read.
Yeah.
Sure. But I think most books do.
That's
this.
my favorite.
I mean,
Okay.
I can't. I
Well,
mean,
the thing is-
Green Lantern Rebirth maybe is one of my favorite number
that was,
ones.
That was pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah. That.
Stefano asked
See,
that.
you're just going to like
He asked for
pull
a favorite
out
number
the
1?
one thing I can't argue. You're
Favorite
going to be
number-
like, what's a number 1 Charlie
or
possibly will not?
a
Green Lantern Rebirth.
a number 1 that does a number 1 issue right.
Justice League for me.
Justice
Jeff
League.
Johns, Jim Lee.
No,
That was so good.
No,
What?
Good.
To end with Superman.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
no.
The opening to like, I really enjoyed the opening to like Thor That was a good one.
That was good.
Like Suicide Squad was amazing. Like all this shit goes on, and then guess what? You're falling out of a fucking plane. Holy shit! Like I was hooked.
Supreme Power #1. I like that one quite a bit.
Well, I think with Infinity, I think the problem is we knew it was Thanos.
Right.
Like, the whole time, it's like, Thanos Rising, Thanos is in the Guardians, Thanos is on the cover of this fucking book. It's like, there's no cliffhanger when it's like, it's the same picture from the end of the movie where it's, I'm going
Infinite Crisis #1 was another great example of like, holy crap, 4 characters out of nowhere that we haven't seen in forever. This crazy, ridiculous, what is going on? Like, and I love that.
And you cared. And you cared.
Yeah, because you're like, what is going on? To me, this Infinity #1, I mean, Civil War and House of M, all of these issues had some pretty amazing end of first issue #1s.
Sure, I know which #1s I like the best: Ultimate Spidey and Ultimate X-Men.
But
Those are fucking good, though.
The end of issue #1s, though,
I liked them.
Yeah,
well, they were set up for
Wolverine
6 issues, though.
To go assassinate
I think my
Xavier
favorite.
at the end of Ultimate X-Men.
I think my favorite Ultimate X-Men issue might have been #2 or #3 when the last page was Cyclops shaking hands with Magneto.
See, I think
That's a cool issue.
Yeah, that was one hell of a scene. Though
the problem with the Ultimate books, and maybe this is accurate to the current Marvel stuff because I don't know what their thought process is.
You just
these
didn't
days.
care because it wasn't real.
No, is that they were not written for a single issue; they were written for a trade. I don't remember the end of either of the Marvel or any of the Ultimate #1s being like "holy crap" moments. They were just like, "Okay, this is part of a 6-issue story."
If I recall, the end of Ultimate X-Men #1 like had Magneto basically sending for Wolverine to go assassinate Charles, if I recall.
Or
I don't remember.
Or
Like
he
it was-
reprogrammed all the Sentinels.
I don't know. All I gotta say is I'm a huge fan of Thanos Rising, and we can see how really, truly he is the avatar of death.
That was a
And-
great #1
yes,
issue.
and no, but connecting back to Infinity,
Yeah.
shit's gonna go down. They created all these characters and brought all these fucking bullshit characters to kill them all off. I mean, that's what's gonna happen, and we get to see how it's gonna happen.
I'd be totally fine with that.
As long as it's not Nova and Speedball.
Oh, they're definitely dying.
No, they can kill this Nova.
Oh,
Nova and Justice are going to be in. I'm sorry, Speedball and Justice are going to be in the new Nova book pretty soon. So, Reform the Warriors, apparently. Huh. L. Bryan asks.
as long as Night Trasher is there, maybe I'll check it out.
He's
Yeah.
dead.
Doesn't matter.
Oh my god, Barcelona, dude!
It's Marvel.
Everybody fucking skateboards there.
Oh, yeah?
It's crazy.
Ah.
Everyone skateboards. It's ridiculous. Like
It's still
it
in.
made me want to have a skateboard in my
It's
hand.
still in.
Yeah.
L. Bryan asks, top 5 non-tights and cape series you guys think people should read? And since there's 5 of us here, I think it would be great if we just picked one.
Day Tripper.
Just not Marvel DC stuff,
Day Tripper.
not superhero stuff.
Wait,
Still-
non-tied? Non-tied?
yeah,
tight,
and I'd say something
non-tights.
fairly recent,
Oh,
too.
okay.
Just
Yeah.
pick something fairly recent.
Yeah. The Bond Moon Brothers. Day Tripper.
I was gonna
Brazil.
say you picked Brock's pick.
No.
No, I didn't.
First thing that popped into my head was Preacher.
There you go.
Yeah, pick more recent. Don't
That's
go,
too easy.
Don't go too easy.
Too easy.
It's not
That's,
easy.
it's like,
for people
that's,
that
that's
just
like me
started
picking
reading,
up
maybe.
100 bullets right now, which I'm thinking.
Well, there you go. Look
Yeah.
at that's 3 picks already. Only 2
which
more
I'm
left.
thinking. No, but that's
Chew.
too easy too.
Even
too
Chew.
Pick up
easy.
Chew.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm going to suggest this book no one's ever heard of. This book of Walking Dead. You ever heard of it?
This
Okay,
book called
fine.
Sandman.
Oh, wow.
Skull Kickers.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. Yay.
Explain Skull Kickers, because I know you like this book a lot.
Skull Kick. Okay. So I know I've had this rant a couple of times now on podcasts, but I really, really, really like books, especially in settings that I enjoy, that amuse me. And Skull Kickers is just taking that sort of typical fantasy type story with your elves and your goblins and your everything else.
Are there orgies?
There may
Might
be.
have been.
Sweet. I'm going to catch that shit.
But it's like the very first story of Skull Kickers has them fighting a werewolf and not being able to find anything like silver, so they kill him with like a silver spoon.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's just fun, and it amuses me, and it makes me laugh. And
Did they have a character that looked like Reese Schroeder in the...
no,
I want to say, what's that? Roca Punisher? That was freaking amazing.
that was very good.
Yeah, especially
And it technically has a good ending.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, you have to.
So nice
because
of you, Higgins. You're such a nice guy.
You have
because
to.
it's not a superhero book in any way, shape, or form. It's Punisher's in like a third of the maybe.
Yeah,
a third of the book.
well, the great thing about that book was they wrote Punisher like a boogeyman. He doesn't even talk for like the first 3-4 issues. So it's very well done.
Can I say favorite Punisher shirt of all time? Mm-hmm. I love the look of the skull.
Oh yeah,
it's all like drip. It's not like some cartoony thing.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
I really like that. I have to pick, and I mean, I picked this. I think we did a random pick a while ago when it came out. But I still enjoy the series way more than I can count. 5 Ghosts from.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
it got kind of shitty though. The last episode. It was
You didn't like the last issue?
No,
I'm fine with it.
Well, maybe he was in Europe. Leave him alone. Well, his brain has to be reacclimated to American culture.
The first arc to go into the next arc.
Now it's an ongoing. So yeah, I'm curious to see where. I think this is an idea that they can take in a lot of places.
Yeah,
and I probably the way I mentioned it before is the way I mentioned it to a lot of people. It's like Indiana Jones meets the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
No, the first 3 issues I thought were
I liked it.
just incredible.
Yeah.
But this is the last 2.
Did a second issue of Blue Beyond the Under come out?
Yeah, I think 3's about to come.
Oh, really?
Probably under.
We sold out.
2 hasn't sold out. It
Huh?
hasn't come out. 2
Yeah, it
hasn't
does.
come out.
Yeah, it does.
When?
And we sold
When?
out of 2 like instantly. I only
What?
got like 2 copies because I
Yeah,
didn't order it a bunch.
Freaking love
No
that
wonder
book,
we
man.
never saw
Yeah,
it.
no,
we never saw
freaking
it.
love that book, man.
Yeah, I can't get it anymore.
That's
There's
another
not.
really good number 1, by the way.
I'm sure
and
there'll
a
be a
pretty
second
darn good non-tight book.
I hope so.
Here's a perfect example of a book that I ordered like 2 copies of because no one asked for it. It didn't look like anything. We get a bunch of the Phantom variants. People go crazy for it, but I've already had my orders placed for number 2 and I can't get more. That's the way life works.
But I love.
Yeah, I liked it. I was like, "Where's Wild Blue Yonder? I haven't read it
Fuck,
yet."
man, that means I have to go somewhere else. That's
As we're all
fine.
like sitting here going, it hasn't come out. We haven't seen it.
It was on the shelf.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Fucking, we're here every Tuesday looking
I'm
at
telling
shit.
you, it was on the shelf.
I didn't see it.
No,
Did you
I
hide
looked.
it
No.
from us?
You know,
specifically?
he
Of course
did.
he did.
Fucking knows that like 3 of us fucking wanting it back. Like,
He's like,
put it
I
away.
can't put it out. There'll be a death match in the store.
All right, Brock, pick your pick.
I'd watch that.
I'd have to say probably American Vampire.
Nice pick.
It's Scott Snyder and Stephen King did a great job introducing this kind of Americana vampire world, and Scott Snyder just really took off with it. And was it Dustin Nguyen, your boy Toby, is
My boy.
done an amazing job on the artwork on that book.
He was the one that was screaming at us from the pool when we thought there was.
No, that's
chicks.
Philip Tan.
Oh, that was Philip Tan. My bad.
And
Yeah.
Whatever.
it's-
The other Asian guy.
That was pretty funny, though. Stop climbing that shit up. I don't think that's legal.
You know, we need to.
Hey, it's Toby.
Oh yeah.
I think the best part about American Vampire is it came out about when like the True Blood kind of buzz was going, but it wasn't even anything like True Blood. It was much far better in my opinion.
It didn't have enough sex in that book, though.
Why you gotta have the sex in it? But
Because that's why Brock
Without
reads
it.
the books.
sex without it?
I got 2 questions. We actually got a bunch of pretty decent questions this week, but
All right.
I got 2
Bring 'em
more.
on.
I got 2 more. I got 2 more to read here before we wrap up. Because we're getting a little long. This is from.
This is fucking Omar's comeback episode. It should
I know,
be like a
come on,
double
man.
header.
We gotta have an episode of how we carry our comics, because I love like that. I'm seeing here how Charlie carries the comics in this kind of like Tupperware tin that I've never seen before.
No. It's a drawer. It's a drawer. It's a drawer at a.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And then I'm like a big fan of.
You got the little sippy,
I'm a
the
fan of
plastic.
Muji.
Yeah.
This is one of my newer ones.
There you go. Look
It's
at
like
that.
a little trapper keeper.
I know that you fucking pull that shit out on the train and then you fucking wink at the ladies.
Yeah,
What's
of course.
up?
No, this ain't a graphic novel.
Hey.
It's a
Hell
fake
yeah.
book in
I'm reading some
Mylar.
garbage Marvel
Yeah.
books. How do you like that? No, nothing.
No, it's not funny, Brock. It's not funny. You didn't get.
Anyway, this is from G on Twitter, and I'm reading this one because I already looked up the answer to it. I knew it. I just didn't know if it's.
I knew it, but I had to look it up.
Yeah, of course.
I needed to make sure the internet told me I was.
I wanted to confirm. I couldn't find the issue number, but I want. Oh no, actually no. This doesn't have the issue number. I knew the person. I didn't know the issue number. That's what it was.
What's the fucking question?
Was there ever a story arc about a Green Lantern watching over the sector of Krypton, post or past destruction? And there have actually been kind of 2. One was the Sandman Dream Hunter? No, not Dream Hunters.
And was it Endless Nights?
Endless Nights, which had
Is that like the mini Sandmans?
one of the guys from Krypton and had like the Guardians of the Universe and all that stuff. So it doesn't really count. But no, the actual one was, and the issue was Superman 257. Tomar Ray. We all know Tomar Ray, little fin-head guy.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He let fucking Krypton die.
He did. That was
let
one
it?
of his first assignments that sector
he
of
sure
the galaxy
fucked up.
where Krypton was, and Krypton got destroyed.
He sure fucked
Tomar
up.
Ray.
He created balance in the Force by letting people die.
Yeah.
Those guys have been overpowered if they had a yellow sun.
He created
Red sun.
Superman, really, is what it comes down to.
Now I don't have
They
the
had a
issue.
red sun.
I don't have the issue in front of me. However, this is a forum on comic book resources. Someone says, again, I can't confirm this because I don't have it in front of me, but he says, if I recall correctly, Tomar Ray was blinded on his way to Krypton by a solar flare. As far as excuses go, I'd say that's a pretty shitty one. So
Someone just in his face.
Yeah. He wasn't blind.
Someone let Krypton die.
No, it was the reflection from Kal-El's ship off of the Yellowstone. It's a blind. I can't see.
That's fucking hilarious.
He got run over by the Kal-El ship.
all right,
He broke his legs, and he's like, I can't do anything about it.
all right, this one's from David. We're going to read this one. Just wait.
Wait.
We got a last minute question from Scott Shea,
Aqua Spider. What's up, Scott?
who has decided to use Twitter much more frequently.
Uh-oh.
He says Infinity was not bad, just a little jumbled the first issue. What did you guys think about the Mists plot line? Mists. Oh, he's talking about the Inhumans.
Yeah,
Yes.
the Terran.
Terrigen Mists, whatever.
He must have been. He has a listening device here, doesn't he?
Maybe. Very last
Yeah,
minute
he's
question.
fucking listening in.
He's out there right now with the mic, a little radar thing.
Like I said,
there he is.
yeah.
What's up, Scott?
I see the BMW out there. The Terrigen Mists, again, I said, the Inhumans and Black Bolt, they're like big for me.
Well, they've already teased this Inhumanity series.
Yes.
So we're like the Terrigen Mists, which caused the Inhumans to become the Inhumans, to gain their powers, is coming to Earth.
Rites of passage.
It's coming to Earth, so they're going to Terrigen Mist a bunch of humans.
So it's like the Inhuman Spider Island?
Sure.
it's like
Well, I'm too busy
98,
thinking it's the
198 or whatever.
Inhumans DC Universe Online.
There you go.
It's becoming reality.
All right, but here's
Why
one.
not?
Here's one from David who says, "What do you guys think the price of comics will ever go higher than $3.99? Do you
Yes,
think people will
it's already happened. Infinity #1.
Well,
It's already happened. DC, what is it? Was it Dark Horse Presents? Fucking $7.99.
do you think people will pay $5 for a book that has more pages? That's exactly
Yes, they do. They pay
Well,
$7.99 for fucking 98 pages. Or
I
some
think
shit.
it's a balance. It's if you're getting a good amount of pages, you'll pay a fair price for it.
Yeah,
If
pay
you're-
$9.99 from Among Us.
Yeah,
Sure, it's a paperback.
If you're getting a fair amount, and I think that this also applies. I mean, this applies heavily when it's to trades. There's trades out there that are $17.99.
Well, there's
but you
trades
get
out there
this-
that makes no fucking sense.
Well,
$24.99 for 5 issues. I'm gonna go back and find the single issues.
Yeah. So I think that yes, people could pay more for comics, but they're not going to pay more for comics.
Well, let's-
at this page amount.
let's look at 20. Well, now 20 pages.
Well, everything is going more expensive. I mean, who
20?
says from 2 years from now we're not paying that?
Right, 20 pages of comic book from, I'm going to say, whether it's Marvel or DC or an independent company. Because if you go back and look at independent comics, even as far as back as the mid-late 80s and definitely into the
Indie
90s,
were a little more expensive.
they were always $3.
Yeah.
A lot of... Now, there were some that were $1.50,
and they were
$2.
and they were black and white $3.
Right, and a lot of Image stuff it was $1.95, but there were many, many independent comics, even in the late 80s, that were $2.95.
Yeah.
I think $3.99 is a line in the sand that I believe is the tipping point, because for the standard size comic book of now, that's how they got around it. Instead of going to $4.50 or whatever have you, they just lowered the page count to 20 pages. I don't think they can lower it any further. I don't think they can make the price go any higher for a standard page. Now, if you start getting 12 issues a year at $5, but they're 32 pages or 48 or 40 pages, that to me I think is a much more likely scenario. But we've already seen DC, people fought hard against a lot of the DC titles that had backups. They're okay when it's Justice League, but they're not okay when it's like some JSA second tier book. Marvel has never been successful with the backups. They've never.
Let's just
done
go
it
back
long
to
term.
$1.25, $1.99, the old school days.
I've explained. I know I've explained why that doesn't work. Now,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Especially from the retailer.
Well,
point
I think
of view.
that like backups can work, and the backups I think in like Detective and Batman have worked because they're within the universe. Right, I remember when people were bitching about the backups, and I was even bitching about it because I was reading this book, and then there's this Metal Man. I'm like, I don't want to read about the Metal Man.
No, I think backups should be in anthology books. I just think that's where they should live.
My general feel about backups is I am perfectly fine with them as long as they're written by the same person writing the book.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
I like that. I like that explanation.
Well, I go with that.
So I got a question. Would you buy The Dark Knight? Would you pay $1 more to get the one chapter from Legends of the Dark Knight, and they put Legends of the Dark Knight digital in the back?
I'm confused.
Wait, what? Oh, Brock is saying that it's not printed, that you have to go online.
Because Legends of the Dark Knight is the digital versions, and they're released in 3 ink.
No, I just want to get.
I only watch
book.
porn digitally.
Okay, so here's a question: if every Marvel, ignore the $3.99 Marvel digital thing, take that out of the equation. If every Marvel and DC book was $3.99 and 30 pages, would you be okay with that? So a 20-page main story, 10-page backup. Regardless of who the creative team was in the second half, would you be okay with it?
I'd much rather pay $2.99 and go back to normal books.
By 20 pages? Now here's a question. What if it was $4.99?
Fuck no.
$4.99 for 30 pages.
That's like how much they charge for annuals these days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, most annuals suck. Right?
If it was
It's
monthly...
I mean, it is really getting to a price point where I mean, you know me, Ryan. I used to pick up books just based on the cover because, I mean, I love a cover. I just pick it up. And it wasn't a big deal because $1.99, $3, and so on. But at this point, I'm actually... There's times where I put books back, even though in the past I would have picked them up because it's $4, and I realize I'm paying $4 for the cover. At $3 with my discount, at $2, it really didn't matter too much if I picked a book up by its cover only. Like, literally, I pick a book up and go, I love this cover, I like this art, I'm going to just pick it up. Now, I'm like, at $4, I'm like,
you could be buying some chick a drink and potentially getting your dick rubbed.
Does the digital code affect that at all? And Charlie should actually be the one I ask about this. If every book was 20 pages, $4 with the digital code, would you care? Would that make it fine to buy?
I would buy more books.
Okay.
Like, it wouldn't...
Well, digital code of the same thing or something else?
Same thing.
Okay.
See, my thing with that is the fact that I've found it very useful, the stuff that I've been picking up with the digital copy, because it does curb a certain amount of my impatience, which is nice. Like, when I want to go back and read some of the John's Justice League, because I've already done this before, I just load it up on my tablet instead of having to dig out the issues.
But you got these beautiful fucking hardcovers.
But that's the thing. They don't have a beautiful fucking hardcover out yet for the John's Justice League.
I thought you were going to say, don't have a fucking beautiful hardcover for the digital shit. Like iPads and pages. And I wanted like 3 times as big.
There's no way that long term we're not going to get an absolute or something of the John's Jim Lee Justice League issues.
Okay.
And I want to be able to wait for that, but I still want to be able to easily be able to read and having the digital copy allows me to do that.
The digital have all the backups too? I'm just curious. Okay.
So here's one more question. Marvel and DC actually are about the same with their comics. It's just it comes off a little bit differently. Marvel books, if they're $2.99, that's no frills. If they're $3.99, they come with the digital code. DC books, $2.99, no frills. $3.99 books have backup stories, or in some cases, the digital copy. Which do you prefer? Backup story or a digital version?
Backup story.
Yeah, backup.
Charlie?
I may go with digital. I'm not Charlie.
I'd go with digital in this case.
I guess I'm Charlie now.
Because it's, I mean, either way, I mean...
So if they went $3.99 across the board, all with digital... Do you think you'd still buy most of the books you buy?
I actually think I would.
I would pay $5.99 if I had a version where they gave me glasses and everybody was naked. I'll feel like I'm in Barcelona again on the beaches.
Because I firmly believe within the next year, I'll say end of 2015, assuming digital trends the way it is, we will see all Marvel and DC books at $3.99, 20 pages with a digital code. I think that is where we're heading.
Yeah,
I think the backups we'll get the digital code, and I think that will be the
That's going to be a really, really weird aftermarket thing.
I think that'll be
people
the
get rid of books, they just donate them, and they just
and back issues is going to be a nightmare. But I think that is the long-term future. I honestly do. Fully 100%. Yeah. This is where I think it's heading. I think Marvel's already done it.
Yeah.
They're testing it on their bigger titles. I think DC's doing the dollar more expensive, and I know, and they told us the redemption rate on those combo packs is like 20%.
Yeah,
most people are buying them as a variant. For them, they can put that shit in every book. And I think Marvel is showing that they can do it. DC will follow suit.
I think it's gonna, that'll kill the back issues completely. I think
the difficult thing
almost
it's the same thing like with trades. Trades don't kill the market of people searching for back issues. No matter.
But you now have the search: is the code redeemed or not?
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
that does. It makes things more complicated, but it doesn't necessarily kill it.
Well, I think that overall, if you're looking at, let's say, what's the redemption rate on Marvels?
I don't know. They haven't said.
Because if DC's basing their redemption...
Ryan's not invited to that.
No, they don't. Marvel doesn't do retail.
Ryan Higgins, no, he's on the blacklist.
They announced recently
He's a DC guy.
They retired their shop program.
Yeah,
thing.
it used to be if you redeem the Marvel code and you chose the store where you bought it from, or you chose us or chose whoever, they'd get 50 cents every time.
That's kind of nice.
They stopped
fuckers.
It.
Why?
You need to contact Disney.
Because money? Because that's less money for them?
Because they gave out X amount and went, okay, and now I think we're done.
Yeah, but I think the thing is if books are going to jump to $3.99 and have a digital code, I think you're going to, let's say, yes, it's like a 30% redemption. Let's just bump it up to 30%. This is just giving DC and Marvel, in essence, them thinking it's free money for them. But I think what you're going to see on the flip side of that is that you're going to see people trim their titles faster. You're going to see people going...
They're already trimming their titles faster.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is...
You're also making them all go more digital. Actually, this is very brilliant from their standpoint. If you're training people to read digitally, and then when they realize they don't really want all these freaking issues in their boxes, that for $2.99, a buck less... they just can continue digitally and forego the printed issue altogether. That slowly people will just go buy it. And then, while digitally should really be 99 cents, you're going to train people to pay $2.99 for them. And, they're going to get a lot bigger margin for it in the end than they do now. So it's actually a brilliant damn master plan, if you ask me.
But it's not necessarily brilliant in the fact that if you're cutting into stores' bottom lines...
Dude, they care about stores now, but if everybody's going digital, I'm sorry, they're not going to care. I'm sorry, Ryan. I care about you, but in the grand scheme of things, if they're going to make money digitally,
they're going to make money digitally, but they're not going to go all digital. That's just not
but
happen.
I'm just saying.
It could.
Well, no, they've already said that digital is completely 100% additive to the retailer. Sales are up. And digital is additive to that. There is nothing being taken away from the stores. Now, each store is going to vary, from store to store. But for we will lose customers to digital. We will gain new customers who want to collect. But it is completely additive. Now, if every book has the digital code and that's the push, then that's a different story.
Exactly. That's my point right there.
Right.
I mean, we saw that whole happen with the music industry. I mean, me and Ryan here, we love the old music stores where you actually go look for CDs. What? There's 2 of them now in the area?
Why aren't you buying vinyl? You should have never left vinyl. That's the problem.
Vinyl is the single issue.
Yeah.
The CD is the trade paperback. I really honestly think the long-term sufferer in this is going to be the trade paperback from digital, not the single issues. The single issue is kind of the cool thing that people do because it's hip and collectible and kind of it's neat. I honestly believe, because if you look at some of these Marvel books, hey, perfect example, 5 issues of Thor for $25 or $4.96 on Comixology.
Huh.
If you're just a reader, what are you going to buy?
Yeah.
Or Ryan's favorite, Two Guns. I'm like, hey, did Ryan order it? Or Marshall goes, no. I'm like, okay. Well, it's actually half the price in digital. I guess I'll just read it that way.
Right.
And it came down to, first of all, I don't know the book. I don't want to pay $20 for it. It's half the price on digital. I could read it right away. Why bother buying
And that's 100%.
Yeah.
But if you want the issue, this is awesome. You're going to go pay $20 per issue for it on a wall book, right? I mean, that is where I'm thinking this vinyl thing. It sells less, but hip, collectible, interesting.
Yeah.
The people that are into it are really into it.
Do you think they'll also push for what I might say sort of higher quality in terms of the trades, and because that's like
I think that's why we're seeing more omnibuses, absolutes, archive editions, the 100.
Yeah, but those are
IDW
nice, right? Those are nice. I mean,
Right, IDW
well, yeah.
But that's what Charlie's saying. IDW can publish 500 copies of an artist edition at $150 and make way more money they can than publishing these $20 softcover trades, because you only need to sell it. It's a Kickstarter model. You only need to sell a couple hundred copies of a really fucking expensive thing to make a shitload of money for people. And I think that's the future we're seeing, is that a few people paying a lot of money will make up way more than a couple people paying a little bit. I think the digital is a whole lot of people paying, pardon me, very little, where the physical is going to be a few people paying a whole lot.
Well, I'm
My
also
voice just
looking
totally
at
went out,
the
so pardon me.
trend of like the Walking Dead compendiums and like sort of like the idea of.
But that's down the line. That's when they're
Well,
no
no,
longer new
I'm
product.
just saying that like I'm looking at, I guess what I kind of consider nice long-term things, sort of like the sort of bone books. How you have the one big book of the black and white version, and then you have the little color.
Well, Marvel and DC have been doing more of those, like the Ultimate collections from Marvel or DC's. Like, here's all the Jeff Johns Superman, or here's all, the big
And
hardcovers.
I'm actually wondering if that's part of the trend, just because I even me, for like the trade paperbacks and stuff, I have a much easier time justifying picking up a thicker trade than
I think if anything goes, it's going to be those $18 or $16.99 4-issue trade paperbacks, volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That will be the first thing to go. But again, it's free money for them. So if they sell 1,000 copies, they sell 1,000 copies. That's all they ever need to sell. It costs them very little comparatively because it's already been printed. They just need to reprint it and package it. But it is more than the digital, which is free. Again, they have to format it. Past that, there's no cost per unit on it.
But I mean, as you said, it's free money for them as long as people are ordering it. But if you're not selling it, you're not going to order it.
Well, why do you think all these trades go out of print instantaneously? Because they get 10,000 orders, they print 10,000. That's it. They're done. And if they get 500 more orders, they're not going to print it. If they get 5,000, they will.
It's hard, especially when like they follow this model and you've sold out of something that isn't necessarily something that's going to jump right off the shelves, but it's more like shops that people go in and ask for another recommendation, and this is the other recommendation you're doing. So it's I mean, I'm like, I want everyone to be able to read the Annihilation stuff because it's great, it's amazing. Those are out of print though, and it's like, but it's a book I'd recommend. It's a book I'd be like, keep it in print because
they're all available on Comicology.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
You can also go to like what's the one that's open?
Really
Barnes and Nobles.
Discounted on
Barnes and Nobles. They have them usually there, and you can just have a coffee. And
Dude, they're all closed.
Barnes and Nobles.
They're all gone, dude.
They're not.
No, they're not.
Barnes and Noble. Borders
gone.
Borders gone.
But you know what's hilarious?
Barnes and Noble's next.
Yeah, they're next.
They're on the list next.
You know how we talk about having the digital code? Is the digital code there or not there? I went to a Barnes and Noble last week, and I was perusing through their trades, and there was the Thor trade. I'm like, this thing is worthless, and I pull it out, and I'm like, it's unshrink wrapped, and somebody possibly might have used the digital code in this. So I'm literally looking at this book, going, even if I wanted to buy it, I don't know if the digital code's been redeemed.
Well, most people don't know that, the average person. So
yeah,
good for you for being smart on that.
Yeah.
Not buying from Barnes and Noble.
I could see Brock going, hey, I'm buying this book. I returned my person that I wanted to give it to didn't want it.
I should have pulled a Charlie and said, the digital code isn't valid in this. I'm not paying full price for it. Can I get it half off?
I usually just look at it.
Thinking Brock wouldn't redeem the digital code anyways.
Yeah, he wouldn't. He definitely wouldn't. He definitely wouldn't.
Yeah. Why do you care, Brock?
I would probably end up, you know what? If they went to $3.99 with digital code, I'd sell my digital codes.
I mean,
that's a way.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, that's a way. I mean,
I mean, I would literally turn around.
Well, actually, then you're gonna have a good reading buddy, and then you're gonna each pay $2 each. That works for me.
There's a lot of that going around. There's a lot of people who give away their digital codes.
A lot of people sell what's the code that are in the DVDs?
The digital
the ultraviolet.
Ultraviolet is garbage. I can't stand it.
See, I send all my ultraviolet codes to Jordan so he can watch the movies too.
Oh, nice. No, I hate ultraviolet. It needs to be something you own, not something you rent.
Sure, but I mean, Comixology is the same thing.
That's true. I hate Comixology too.
You don't own those books.
Is like you watch it once, it's over.
No, you get access to it.
You
access
can watch
to
it whenever you want as long as their cloud happens.
You don't actually
exist.
download anything. You don't actually download a digital file that you own.
I see.
Yeah, I Ultra. Don't get me started. I have a whole lot of gripe with it.
But Ultraviolet, I literally will not sometimes buy a Blu-ray because it says Ultraviolet on it.
Well, you just don't have to
Why
redeem it.
doesn't matter?
Well, I don't redeem it, but I hate the whole process.
I'll buy them if I don't care because I never use them.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
don't care.
I care because I can send the code to
Yeah,
Jordan
sure,
and then he can watch it.
Sure.
I prefer the old digital system, but
I mean, if someone's willing to give me $5 for my code that I'm not going to use, awesome.
why not?
I'll take
Yeah.
$5.
yeah.
When you buy these Fast Forces HeroClix, you get like a digital code for HeroClix
Yeah,
Online,
sure.
and we use them as sweeteners for trades.
Yeah, no one. Yeah.
HC Realms. See, I dropped you guys a line, so fucking increase my
Hey,
rep. on
I got
that
a
shit.
question. Since we all doing these questions and answering thing, do you guys we should do a silent library recording on this podcast with no video?
Okay.
So it's just us being silent.
Huh. Is that a question?
And
Yes.
on that note, thank you for listening to episode 120 of the Comic Conspiracy.
120.
That didn't work at all.
No. Well, I'll edit that out because I don't even want you to be that embarrassed.
Oh,
He's not embarrassed.
I'm joking.
I'm not.
I'm joking.
I still want to do that.
I was like a Brockism or something like that. I don't know.
Ooh,
what the hell that was.
ouch!
Oh,
ouch!
shit.
Ouch!
Gotta watch this.
Maybe now I am embarrassed. It wasn't that bad until I got compared.
Cool story, Toby.
Sure,
Damn it, you went there.
sure, Toby. Sure, Toby.
All right.
There's a shirt now. Somebody's made a shirt.
All right. Thank
Besides
you.
the Sure Brock poster that
Thank
already
you.
exists.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to Comic Conspiracy. If you want to listen to this episode or any of our other episodes, you can go to www.geekbox.net or
Love how he
comicsconspiracy.biz.
says if you want to listen to this episode on a recording of somebody just listening to
Yeah,
this
if you want to listen to it again or any of our other episodes, you can go to
But they
those
probably maybe
episodes.
already downloaded it, so they would just have to hit replay. They wouldn't have to go visit.
Or you can
could
go
you say,
there.
would you like to go download any of our past episodes?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go pee.
Have fun. Okay, we'll do the shout out. If you want to visit Omar's site, it's comicsanddecine.com. Also, Comics and Decine on Twitter. Omar, thank you very much. We're happy to have you back. We missed you. I know.
Hey,
But we'll be
not
done
in the
by time you're
corner.
back.
Not in the corner.
We all have random crap. We do broadcast conspiratorBrock.com. Charlie's on the Infinite Long Box podcast at infinitelongbox.com. What else do we have? Forums at geekbox.net and go talk to us on there a little bit.
I don't know
And
why
the
I think
Geekbox
today is an important day and there's something really big happening tomorrow, but I can't recall what it is.
New HeroClix. I'll be Omar. New HeroClix.
Oh,
The
That's coming out
tomorrow. Well, Wednesday, tomorrow midnight. Forums.
I didn't see it in the list on Diamond,
well, it's a
better be.
secret list.
evidently.
You can also go to the Geekbox Facebook community. Go talk to us on there. We all talk about it in there. The Comic Conspiracy Geekbox.net. You can send us an email there if you want us to read your email on the podcast eventually. I do read them all. I just don't read them all on the podcast. Twitter is...
Or he deletes them.
Ryan Higgins, Ryan.
He deletes them all.
Brock Sager is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity and Chaos. Bryce Larson, who should be joining us next week for his
Book club is
book
due.
club peak.
Yeah, we got a
book
book
club
club.
of the month, which was Second Coming, the X-Men.
Yeah,
miniseries.
second coming. Which the build up to that is House of M.
Wait. Third coming too.
Don't make it difficult, Brock. It's just a comic book.
Who is Larson Bryce on Twitter? You can go follow him. And
So how does it feel to be the only Twitter person to actually get his full name normally without?
yeah.
What up, Bryce?
Come on, Brock,
That's
educate us. You're the only one in the group
That
that actually gets
goddamn
his
Ryan Higgins
normal
on Twitter. I
name
send him
on Twitter.
messages all the time being like, give it up, and he won't give it up. He's an asshole. He's got his little avatar and everything.
Should offer to trade.
Give you,
Some digital codes. You might take some
give you
digital
$20
codes.
$25 for that name. How about that? Oh, wait, that's against Twitter's TOS. Oh, well, that's fine. All right.
Give him some comics.
We are out. We'll catch you guys next week.